Representing Texas out here, it would appear that Virtual World made some sort of splash on this event, and Therion just wanted to grab hold of this regional and shake it up. Don't think 30% of you guys have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can climb up the 100K ladder here. Woo-wee! Now, this is a breakdown here. From what I was told for the El Paso Regional, there were 3 Therion Punk decks in Top Cut for this event, which kind of exceeds my expectations, ladies and gentlemen. That is a lot of Therion Punk. Now, honestly, looking at like the overall Nationals breakdowns and everything that we've seen kind of circulating around here, I'm not all that surprised to see that, you know, the Punk engine was in the biggest represented chunk of this. I mean, honestly, between that and the base deck here, Punk was in some sort of half representation for this event overall. So that's something to kind of keep in mind here. How much Punk has grabbed the metagame and really shaken it up at this point in time. And it's really a hard time for players to be able to adapt and handle these sorts of things, that there's no real chance for them to it's either punk or bust, effectively, unless you're like a Sword Soul player or a dying breed of Despia player. Speaking of Despia, didn't even top this event. So we also had one based in Top Cut. You guys all know how great being able to, you know, utilize the best engines in the game to create like this synchro-based strategy to just kind of laugh at your opponent and blow them out as you're climbing up the synchro ladders. We also had one Sword Soul player. Congratulations to the Sword Soul player for definitely holding on here for your dear life. We also had a Phantom Knight player in Top Cut as well, which I'm actually very happy to see that Phantom Knights are still doing well. We saw a little bit of success out of the Nationals weekends here, that this deck was still able to kind of hold on and do its thing, but it's been struggling. We also had Virtual World as well, which I think for a roguish pick, still doing pretty good. And then we also had one Drytron deck make its way on in to the Top Cut as well. So that is your breakdown for this. Let's pass on over for some deck list. All right, deck list out of this event. The first one we're going to be looking at here is our little base deck, and of course Crusadia Arborea definitely is the thing that makes this deck go around. I mean, Sangin getting full resolution here is literally gas. We have the one Scythe, the triple Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, one Crusadia Arborea with the triple Effect Veiler, one Fairy Tale Snow with the one Jet Synchron. I love how good Jet Synchron is. Just being able to blow this off of, you know, this good card here and have free fodder. Okay. We have one Punk Deer Note, triple copies of Foxy Tune with the 2 Zia Min, the triple Gamma with the 1 Red Rose with the 1 Rox Rose. We have the triple Sangin with the 1 Token Collector, the 1 Griffon Rider, triple copies of Water Enchantress, 1 Driver, the 1 Basil Rose Shoot with the 1 Called by the Grave, the 1 Draco Back, triple copies of Emergency Teleport, the 1 Faithful Adventure, the 1 Foolish Barrel, triple copies of Forbidden Droplet, and triple copies right of Armesier. I think the thing that also makes this package disgusting is the Cherubini here. 2 level 3s is equals, you know, full Brave combo. We have 1 Celine with the 1 Almirage, 1 Link Kribo, 1 Hulk, the 1 Cherubini, the 1 Dagda with the 1 Apo, the 1 Axis Code with the 1 Zombie Vampire, 1 Wonder Magician with 1 Shooting Riser, 1 Psychic End Punisher, 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 Chaos Roar with the 1 Baron. Our side deck here is 2 Crows, the 1 Change of Heart, triple Dark Roller, the 1 Foolish Return, triple Twin Twisters, triple Dimensional Barrier, and 2 copies of everybody's favorite Evenly Matched. Wrapping up our first list here. Our next list we have here is going to be Sword Soul. So straight off the bat, we're on triple Heavenly Dragon Cycle, 0 Vassals. If you guys have been a big fan of this channel and you've been paying attention, we talk so much about like the distribution of Vassal versus Heavenly Dragon Cycle in terms of ratios for the modern format here. So seeing that we are diversifying, I guess making our options a little bit better, it's fair. We have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, triple copies of Effect Veiler, triple copies of the Incredible Ecclesia with triple copies of Mo Yi. We have 2 copies of Tai with triple Long Yun, 2 copies of Ara Ara, triple copies of Ashuna, 1 copy of Synthana with triple copies of Vishuddha. We have 1 copy Called by the Grave, triple copies of Forbidden Droplet with the triple copies of Heavenly Dragon Cycle. We have 2 copies of Pod of Desires, triple copies of Sword Soul Emergence, 1 Blackout with triple copies of Infinite Impermanence. Down here in the extra deck, we have 1 Shaman of the Tenyi, triple copies of Monk of the Tenyi. We have 1 Yazi with 1 Qingying, 1 Qingxing Long Yun, 2 copies of Qizhao, the 1 Draco Berserker, 1 Crimson Blader, 1 Chao Fang, 2 Boxia, and 1 Baron. The double of this is nuts. We have 2 copies of Moonlit Chill, triple Space Rock with triple Dark Roll No More, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, the triple Lightning Storm, 2 D-Barriers, and 1 copy of Red Reboot here, wrapping up your intellectual sword soul list. Very, very straightforward, what you really expect here. Next up here is our Punk Therion deck. To be quite honest with you, Punk Therion, all these builds kind of start to look the same after a little while. I guess like your ratios, you decide on like, do I want to play the trade-ins? Do I want to go down the route of, you know, exploring multiple charges? And for this event, no, we just pretty much kept this standard for what you like to see. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 copies of the DD Crow, triple copies of Effect Veiler, 1 copy Fairy Tale Snow with 1 Jet Synchron. We have 1 Deer Note with the triple Foxy Tune, 2 copies of Ogre Dance, triple copies of Xiamin, triple copies of Gamma with the 1 Bowline. We have 1 Duke Yule, 2 Regulix, triple Borea with the 1 copy of Foom, the 1 Shirakatsai, and the 1 Driver. And then we have 1 Called by the Grave, triple copies of Emergency Teleport, triple copies of Argeo System, the 1 Charge, and the triple copies of Disc Coliseum. Our extra deck here, we have 1 Celine with the 1 Hulk, the 1 Access Code, the 1 Zombie Vampire, 1 Hope Harbinger, 1 Zeus with the 1 Dingrisu, 1 copy of the Unukyo Punk Amazing Dragon, 1 Psychic End Punisher, 1 Archfiend Calamity, the 1 Archfiend Abyss, 1 Formula, 1 Chaos Ruler, 1 Baron, and the 1 Rising Carp. And then we have, of course, the 1 Rose Whip, triple Space Rock, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, triple Droplet, the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 2 Anti-Scam Fragrance, and triple copies of Dimensional Barrier here, wrapping up our first Punk list. Next up, wow, Punk with trap cards in it. Woo! We got spicy in here. Yes, we are playing the 1 Therion Cross here. Opponent activates a monster effect while you control a Therion monster. You can activate an effect. We can negate that effect, or we can banish that monster. Okay. If you have Endless Argeo System in your graveyard at the turn of activation, you can activate both effects at resolution. Negate, then banish. Wow. That feels really good for a deck like this. So we have triple copies of Ash, Blossom, and Joy Spring with the triple Effect Veiler for this. We have the 1 Jet Synchron with the 1 Deer Note. We have triple copies of Foxy Tune, 2 Ogre Dance, triple copies of Xiamin, 1 copy of Bowline, 1 Dukiel. We have the 2 Regulus with the triple Borea, 1 copy of Reaper Foom with the 1 Shirakatsai. We have the 1 Called by the Grave, the triple Emergency Teleport, the triple Argeo System, the 1 Terraforming with the the 2 Charge. Yeah, so we're doing just 2 Charge. I mean, honestly, it works. We have triple Disc Coliseum, triple Imperm, and the 1 Therion Cross. Down here in the extract, we have 1 Celine with 1 Anima, 1 Nightmare Unicorn with 1 Hauki Fibrex, 1 Axis Code Talker with the 1 Zombie Vampire, 1 Malaya of the Trees, 1 Zeus, 1 Anukio, 1 Punisher with the 1 King Calamity. Yeah, being able to skip your opponent's turn is really good. We have 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, 1 Formula, 1 Chaos Ruler, and the 1 Rising Carp. Our side deck here is triple Imperm, 2 Token Collectors, triple Dark Roll No More, the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, triple Twin Twisters, and triple copies of Dimensional Barrier here, wrapping up your interesting take on this. And then the last one we have here is none other than Phantom Knights. Now, there's no Brave packet in this deck, right? Like, having the Omni Negate stuff really does help out the baseline for this. I know a lot of players really do want to see more of that gas style where you can capitalize, set up those negates, punish the opponent, and, you know, not lose to detrimental hand traps along the way. Well, it is cool to see that you can still do other things with this deck. Yeah, I know. We are still doing Scythe-Lock shenanigans, but we're also, Jet Synchron here kind of gives this deck a little bit more of an interesting take overall. So we have 1 copy of Artifact Scythe, triple copies of Ash, Blossom, and Joy Spring. We have 1 copy of Seer, 2 copies of Effect Veiler, 2 copies of Ghost Ogre with the 1 Graph. Then we have 1 Jet Synchron, 2 copies of Kagemusha Knight, 1 Psychic Wielder, 1 Sangan with 2 copies of the Ancient Cloak. We have 1 Ragged Gloves, triple copies of Silent Boots. We have the 1 Stained Greaves. We have triple copies of Torn Scales, triple copies of Tour Guide. We have 1 Called by the Grave, triple copies of Emergency Teleport. We have triple copies of Forbidden Droplet with the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Rhoda, triple Fogblade, and 1 Shade Brigadane. Then we have 1 Rusty Tin Can, 1 Unicorn with 1 IP, 1 Hulk with 1 Cherubini, 1 Dagda. We also have 1 Apollosa, 1 Access Code, 2 Break Swords with 1 Levier with the 1 Zeus. And then we have 1 TG Wonder, 1 Herald, and 1 Baron. Our side deck here, triple Nibiru, triple Gamma with 2 Token Collectors, 1 Driver, 2 Twin Twisters, triple Dimensional Barrier, and 1 copy of Red Rebuto here, wrapping up your chunk of deck profile. Here, Chile Nationals top 16, 5 Sword Soul decks in this top cut, which is actually pretty impressive. The interesting thing about that is a lot of them did not get past the top 16 here. And when we dig into these top 16 lists, you will get the chance to see, you know, the little bit of a struggle that some of these decks kind of went through here to push through that top 16. And then we had third best represented deck here was branded or Despia here with 3 of those bad boys in top cut. And then on the sub breakdown here, you also had 2 Eldritch branded decks. So a combination of 5 Despia engines in top cut, rounding out that engine to like the heavier represented thing here. Now your one-ofs are where things get most interesting here. We actually had Phantom Knights winning this event, which it's a Phantom Knight Adventure package deck that basically aims to kind of break boards and capitalize and do some larger combo plays. And then, of course, we had a Flaundereese player in top cut. That's pretty standard at this point. We also had 1 Plant Therion. Now, the Plant Therion deck has taken so much more of a backseat as of late in the format that it's actually kind of sad to see how much like the regression that we've seen from that. But seeing that it was still present here was very good. We also had a Salamangreat deck in top cut as well. We also had a Code Talker deck. Now, this isn't Adagnister Code Talker. This is actual Code Talkers, the deck that aims to build this huge board, possibility of U-linking as well, and aim to kind of, you know, wrap things up. Then we had a Drytron branded deck. Actually, technically, that's 6 sort of branded engines, all in terms of the top cut here. But does this look pretty standard to you? Because truthfully and honestly with you, I'm not surprised by any of this. Let's pass on over to decklist, shall we? Winning Chili here is none other than Phantom Knights with a Punk engine and an adventure package. 45 cards. Our main goal here is to kind of wrap up all of the engines here and pull together the best of all potential aspects here so that players could get the chance to, I guess, be shocked by this. Dark Ruler No More is built into the main deck. This deck is a very scary potential metagame pick here. I think a lot of players haven't explored the options of including all of these little combo pieces together to make this work. So kudos for this. Next up here is Flounder. Flounder ran it all the way back to 2nd place here, which, considering that there was only 1 in top cut, that's quite amazing. Triple book, and then we're on Duality and Prosperity. No extrav in this. We have the Dark Ruler No Mores in the deck, so we can do our standard board breaking shenanigans. Outside of that, you know, Flounder has been pretty standardized at this point in time. Nothing really screams too crazy to me in terms of the developments for this deck. So, all right, congratulations. Next up here for top 4, we have Despia, double Albion, the Shrouded Dragon, triple Allure, double Mercurier. Like we've seen in the past here, this deck has been, you pick your poison for the amount of Mercuriers that you want to play. To be truthfully honest with you, nothing else really looks too extreme out of this. Double Zombie World has definitely become more of the norm for this. Also, no Albalenitis down here. All right, and also, you know, the Gold Shark to make a little bit more of a plus player. Next up here is another Despia list. So both Despia decks ended up making it in the top 4 here. This one's sporting off Dark Ruler No Mores so that we can do some board breaking shenanigans. 1 Albion in this list versus the 2 that we saw in its counterpart here. Fairy Tale Snow in here. Only 1 Mercurier for this build, which is fine at the end of the day here. I mean, you kind of pick your poison, like I said. If you're trying to play Despia and get cute in terms of your ratios and things like that, you decide what you want to do. Either way, you should be successful. Next up here is another Despia list. Wow, 3 back-to-backs here. Now, this list gets a little bit more interesting. So we're on double Mercurier, but we wanted to play triple Albion for this bad boy here, which means for whatever reason we thought for our deck building options that would just be the best. I mean, it looks like it worked out for 45 cards, but that's a lot more than you would average see in a deck like this. So you know what, kudos for them for making it work. Next up is our Plant Therion list. Now this uses the Sun Seed package to kind of capitalize and then start doing some of the best things that you want to see out here, ladies and gentlemen. Building these boards with this deck, I do think that this deck is one of the coolest combo decks present in the modern era, and so many people just kind of, you know, sleep on this one. So if you're playing Therion player, congratulations. Continue to give this deck some love, all right? It is so cool when it goes. All right, next up for top 8 here, our Salamangreat deck made it in here. So this list is actually playing triple will. No pot of desires. I have noticed that desires they've really been cutting desires out here. Like, I'm really surprised to see that they just don't value the extra card extension packages that desires gives you anymore. Desires is a very positive card in the early days of the deck, but no point. I also see droplets in here for board breaking and Lady Debugs. All right, next up here, the last of our top 8 lists is our Code Talker deck. Yes, Code Talkers made it all the way into top 8, ladies and gentlemen. You do get the chance to see some of the cool stuff here. I see we have interesting choices for the Signet stuff. In terms of extra deck 1 Firewall, see we also have the 1 Salamangreat in the side deck down here as well, but yeah, nothing else really too crazy for this. U-Link, go! So we hit our first Sword Soul list here in top cut here. We are playing the 1 Synthana. We are on double Vessel, 1 of the Monster Reborn for the deck with double Heavenly Dragon Cycle. I think that's fine. Desires is pretty much mandatory stable. We are playing the DD Crow in this build, which pretty much solidifies. And our side deck is some of the most basic stuff ever. You know, in terms of developments for this deck, like I said before, it's kind of, do I want to play Synthana? Do I not want to play Synthana? You pick your poison, as you can clearly see. Next up here, our next Sword Soul list. Oh boy. So, double desires, we're playing 41 cards. Instead of playing Heavenly Dragon Cycle, we opted to play triple Vassal. We're on triple DD Crow in the main deck with 1 Effect Veil. That Effect Veiler is actually kind of cute in terms of things. I also see that we're siding the Change of Heart, and we also have triple Cosmic Cyclone in the side deck. I mean, also with the Harpy's Feather Duster. A lot of unsearchable good cards here, but you know what? They seem to work out. Next up, all right, so this is our Adventure branded deck here. So we're going to capitalize, do Eldritch plays, set up our good stuff. We have Skill Drain to kind of detour the opponent and laugh at them. And then at the end of the day, we'll just set up and go to town. We're also main decking the Necroworld Banshee. That's actually kind of cute. So we have access to our Zombie World package on the main deck, so the opponent's just going to kind of stare at us and go, what am I supposed to do? You're main decking this stuff. And well, the answer is get good, for sure. Next up is our Drytron package for branded here. Now, I think the thing that I was most interested about this was we're playing the Solemn Scolding in here. I haven't seen Scolding see a lot of play at all, but this is kind of getting a nice little flashback to things. So, considering the fact you only should have 1 spell and trap card set, as long as you see like Solemn Scolding, you should get the chance to go off to the races here and be in a very, very good position. So, you know what? I'll give it to them. One of the more interesting things that I've seen here. Next up, we have another Eldritch list here. Now, this list is playing 50 cards, but we're also playing some of the little interesting dragon support here, the dragon spellcasters, to kind of set up and do some other cool things. Also, triple mistake main decked here. I don't know what this duelist ran into that potentially has ruined their day before. But you know what? There's enough capitalization here for this deck to be really scary. The extra deck is also very, very, very straightforward here. Next up here for our next Sword Soul deck, 1 Synthana. We're actually 44 cards. I think this is one of the larger packages that we've seen. Triple DD Crow in the main deck here. We also have double Droplet in this bad boy, just so you can kind of I guess round things out. I see that we also have double Night Beam, so I'm assuming that we're probably boarding out droplets for Night Beams or something else along that way. Outside of that, I mean, this deck, it gets so much more standardized, it actually hurts. Alright, next up, oh boy, here we go again. So, more Sword Soul, yay. I literally told you that none of these Sword Soul decks got past top 16. I also see here that we're on triple Chalice, double Heavenly Dragon Cycle, double Vassal, which is standard, 1 Synthana, I think I mentioned the triple Crow. We have crossouts in the side deck, so we can round out some of our more toxic matchups. Outside of that, yeah, D-Barriers, Crimson Blader, of course. I'm kind of happy to see that that. And then I see we're also playing the Psychic End Punisher down there. Okay, interesting. And the last as we have for you guys here is another Sword Soul list. This one is maining 1 E-Telly, 1 Change of Heart. That's very strange. So we can bring out the Ogres. We're also playing Bells, which is fine. We're on the 1 Monster Reborn, 2 Heavenly, 2 of the cycle with double droplet. Holy crap. You know, we just took everything that we've seen from every other list, and we said, you know what? We're going to pack it on into one deck here, and it's going to work itself out. So what do you guys think about the Konoha store breakdown? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you say. Make sure you guys smash the like button, that subscribe button, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.